to my channel. My name is Hannah, and today we're going to be going over all of the series that I am in the middle of. And yes, there's quite a lot of them, so we're gonna try to move this train along. I'm going to start with one that I don't own physical copies of any of the books. I've been reading on my Kindle, and that is the Dirty Air series. This is like an interconnected standalone with, I think, Formula One racing. It's not NASCAR, so I think it's Formula One. And I've read the first two, I started the third one, never finished the third one. I think there's 4 in total, and I do want to finish it. It's just, I'm not like rushing to get there, so that's definitely pretty low on my list of books series that I want to get to. I figured that I would also add in like where these are on like my priority list, high, mid, low, all of that. So anyway, yes, now getting into the physical ones, I have these sort of categorized in standalone, like interconnected standalone series, and then like actual series where you really do need to read them in the order that they come in. So first up, in no particular order, this is just how I grabbed them, we have whatever this series is. It's like the Pumpkin Spice Cafe, the Christmas Tree Farm, all of that. There's 2 other ones. This is the only one that I've read because I picked up the series in Christmas time. So of course I read the Christmas one. I do plan on finishing this. I'd say like this is mid priority, mainly because like I'm going to read them most likely in the season that they correlate with. I have to figure out which one's in spring before we get past spring, and I completely forgot about it. But yes, going to be finishing this. I think they're just really cute, fun little romances. Then we have the Dark Olympus series. I've only read Neon Gods. I forget how many books are in this. It's all following different Greek gods, and it's very heavy in that mythology, but instead of them being gods, they just are kind of in charge of a city called Olympus, but set in present day United States. So I kind of liked that idea. This is like maybe mid-range for me. I enjoyed reading this, but I wanted a little bit more, so there's nothing that's really having me like run full sprint to pick up the rest of them, but they're fun every once in a while. Then we have the Ruinous Love trilogy. This first one is obviously Butcher and Blackbird. There's Leather and Lark, Scythe and Sparrow. I think there's another one coming out, but I'm not sure. I really want to get to these. I enjoyed this so much. It's like a comedic dark romance, which makes no sense when you realize that it follows serial killers. It shouldn't be funny, but it really is, and I loved it. I've heard the audiobooks for these are incredible, so I might pick up the audio for the second one whenever I get to that, but these are pretty high on my list because I did really enjoy my time reading this. Then we have the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. This is like an interconnected standalone that follows mafia families, and of course like a bunch of forced or arranged marriages and enemies to lovers, stuff like that, because they're mafia families that don't typically get along together. I've read the first 3, and I do plan on finishing them. I'd say these are like mid-level, like I'm not running to get to them, but they are kind of fun. They're really good palate cleansers. They're very like intro dark romance. There's nothing super heavy about them or overly like taboo or dark. I think the mafia vibe is what really makes it dark romance. Then we have, this is the Never After series. I've only read Hooked, but there's like 3 or 4 after that, maybe a little bit more, I can't remember anymore. They are all following like loose Disney reimaginings. So this one obviously follows Peter Pan and Captain Hook, and the next one is Scarred, I think, which follows Scar from The Lion King. I do want to finish this. This is more like probably low priority. This was fun, but I didn't really see why everybody's obsessed with it. I have heard that Scarred is people's favorites, so maybe I'll get a little bit more into the series once I get to that, but I'm not really sure. I also don't know if they actually like connect, if there's like small little threads that connect each book to each other, like most interconnected standalones, or if they're just reimaginings that don't have any crossovers between the two, but technically it's a series. Then we have the Romance Book Club series. I've only read this first one and really enjoyed it. I'd say this is like mid-level priority. There are just so many more that I need to know what happens to them, but I did like and enjoy this book. It made me laugh a lot. It's about a group of men that are friends, and they sort of create this book club where they read romance books in an effort to better relate to their spouses, their partners, their significant others, and sort of understand them and figure out where they're going wrong in their relationships. And it's such a cute, fun idea, and I really love it. Then we have the Windy City series. This is so high on my list of series that I want to get to. Like, I need to finish this year. The last book comes out sometime at the end of the year, and I would love to be caught up before I get to that one. There's this one, The Right Move, Play Along, and Caught Up, I think is the 4 that are out. I've read the first 2, can't wait to get to the rest. Like, I adored the second book so much. Like, the main male character in that one is just, he's everything. He's everything. Just the epitome of acts of service. These are sports romances that are all, like I said, interconnected. People from each book sort of make cameos in the other ones. So they're all like friends or related to each other in some sort of way. Then we have The Brightest Light of Sunshine. This is actually high on my list. I just haven't gotten the rest of them, and I'm not really sure why, but every time I think of like one of my favorite romance books, it's this one. So I don't really know why I haven't picked up the other ones, but this book follows somebody that is struggling with trauma that happened in her past and learning to deal with that and sort of be comfortable around people and men specifically again, and looking at relationships and being comfortable with relationships. So it had such deep messaging in it that I really, really appreciated it. And I think the second book follows the daughter, if I remember right. But I'm sure that there's going to be much like heavier themes in that one too, but then still cute romance. And yeah, the vibes were perfect for this one. I think if more people got a hold of it, it could really, really blow up and become really popular. So that is pretty high, despite the fact that I don't own the rest of the books. Then we have the Maple Hills series. I've read Icebreaker, I've read Wildfire. I'm hopefully going to be reading Daydream very, very soon. And then I will be all caught up in the series as it stands so far. I really like this series. I know a lot of people don't. It's like a hockey romance series, but like, I don't know, there was something fun about it. I didn't mind the main characters in the first one, and I really, really loved the second one and the setting in like a summer camp and everything, but I think they're just really fun. So this is actually really high for me, especially because Daydream follows Henry, who is introduced in Icebreaker, and I loved his character, so I was really excited to see sort of what his story looks like. Then we have, I don't even know what this is going to be called. It's just a little duology. The second one is Hook, Line, and Sinker. I haven't read that one. I have obviously read this one. It's high on my TBR for summer. Like, they're both very much summer romance coded books, and I don't really want to read it any other time, which is why I haven't gotten to the second one. But it follows these two sisters that are very well off in life, and they're a little bit spoiled. We'll call them spoiled. And they get sent to Washington to sort of convert this bar that their stepfather owns. Yeah, it's their late father's dive bar in Washington, but like now obviously the family owns it. They're sent there to sort of renovate it, fix it up, keep it running and everything, and like it's a punishment for them, and it forces them to take responsibility and everything. Very Schitt's Creek coded as well. Like, I think it took a lot of inspiration from that, and that might be why I enjoyed it so much, but I'm really excited to see what they do with the sisters storyline. Then we have Hunt on Dark Waters. There's only one other book, I think, for this one, and it follows one of the friends that's mentioned in it. This is pretty low on my list, in all honesty. This was fun, but I felt like there was too much that was going on. Like, she was trying to put in too many different magical elements, and it kind of got lost, and we didn't focus on one enough. But I liked the fact that it was like a magical pirate that has a witchy captive that he was stuck dealing with that he didn't like, and it followed very heavily the like sort of the myth of what's it called it's called The Hunt, and that it's this old myth that I've seen portrayed in like Teen Wolf and everything, and then it was in here as well, and I really liked that it sort of pulled from some old legends and stuff, so I did enjoy that. I just, like I said, not rushing to get to the next one, so it's pretty low. And then we have two that I'm considering interconnected standalone because I've read the original trilogies, and that's The Inheritance Games and Truly Devious. Both of these have a trilogy that starts the whole series that is very much connected. You need to read it in order, but then after that there are some spin-off books. Truly Devious has two books that kind of follows the main trilogy but aren't tied to that story anymore. And Truly Devious is like a YA Dark Academia following a group of high schoolers that are very, very smart, intelligent, creative. They're very quirky characters, and I really, really enjoy them. They're all eccentric and just different and fun, and they solve mysteries and everything. So I think I only have one more to read in that, and it's like mid-level priority for me. I enjoyed the trilogy a lot, but then the first spin-off book kind of felt underwhelming, so that's why I haven't picked up the last one yet. And then the Inheritance Games, I feel like everybody knows about this. This is a YA sort of like mystery suspense where she's included in this will for somebody that she has never met before, and now she's inherited millions of dollars, and the family is like, who are you? What is going on? And they're solving this mystery of trying to figure out why she was included in the will, and there's all of these just wild games and scavenger hunts and puzzles to solve, and it's really, really fun. I enjoyed the main trilogy, but I've heard iffy things about like the Hawthorne Brothers spin-off, and I think The Grandest Game is also a spin-off of this. So I'm just not really running to get to those because I haven't heard the best things. So those are all of my interconnected standalones. Now we're moving into all of my series that are actually like, you need to read them as a series. First up, we have Bridgerton. I read the first one in this, and I didn't read the rest of them. I told myself I was going to bounce between watching the TV show, reading the book, and going back and forth, because I absolutely love the Netflix series. That didn't happen. And at this point, Netflix is taking so long between series, and even between like the first and second half of the season, to release them, that I'm probably just going to read the books. I will say this is more like a mid-level priority for me because I actually enjoy the TV show more, which is a little weird. It's not normal for me, but I feel like it just encapsulates the elegance and glitter and glam of Regency era London and everything so spectacularly, being able to see it on screen, being able to listen to the music, like the soundtrack that they have for each season, like episode is insane. So well picked. The characters are portrayed fantastically. Like these actors are incredible. The tension and the yearning and the angst it's just everything in the show. So like reading it in the book, just it doesn't hit quite as hard, but I do still want to read the books. Then we have the Addicted / Calloway Sisters series. I've read the first two in the Addicted series, which follows Lillian Lowe. This is like mid to high range because I do really want to get to Rose and Daisy's stories because I hear a lot of people really love them. And while I do like Lillian Lowe, it's really hard for me to connect with their characters, and I feel like I'm going to be able to connect more with Daisy or Rose, and I'm really excited to see their storyline, specifically Daisy's, if I'm being completely honest. So I am excited to do that. Then we have the Housemaid trilogy. I think it's a trilogy. This used to be high on my priority list, and then because I heard that, no, that's not why. We're going downhill, guys. This used to be high because the way this ended off, I thought was setting up for a really cool premise for the second book, but then I've heard a lot of people say that the second book and the third book are really redundant and kind of just copies of the first one, like very, very similar, and doesn't branch out as much, which is disappointing. Like I thought that we were going to go in like a really cool trajectory, and that doesn't seem to be the case. So now this is like low, maybe mid-level priority. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up when I'm in the need for like a really quick, fast-paced thriller. Then we have the Unsub series. This is high on my list with the caveat of I probably still won't get to it anytime soon. And that is because I need to read the first three books again before I read the fourth one, because there was such a gap between me reading them and the fourth one's release that I forget a lot of key parts in it. So yeah, this is a more adult mystery suspense where it's following a detective who is trying to capture this Unsub that they have named the Prophet, and he kills people and carves the mark of Mercury in their chest. Her father had been trying to capture him, and it kind of left him a little bit like, people think he's gone crazy because of his inability to capture him and just the years that he spent trying to do it. And now people are worried that she's falling down the same rabbit hole. I loved the first three books in this. Like I said, it's just been so long since I read them that I really want to reread them, which puts us down on the priority list because I have so many physical books on my TBR that I don't have time for rereads. So it's that's a conundrum for that one. Then we have Bewitched. This is pretty low on my priority list because I didn't really enjoy the first book as much as I thought. It's a YA fantasy that follows a witch who is trying to get into this coven / school, and while she's on this quest as part of her application process, she awakens this old god named Menmon down in South America. I think it's South America. And he believes that she's responsible for cursing him and that she is his wife. So he follows her, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. Like, he's just so convinced. He follows her back to school. People start winding up dead. Everybody thinks that she's responsible because her magic eats her memories. All this crazy stuff. And the way that it plays out, I think could have, like, is a fantastic baseline plot. But I felt like the execution for it wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. I'm really going in on this book. Wow, I need to stop. Yeah, anyway, I wanted more from this. Felt like there could have been more for the magic system. Just, it felt like way too many vibes, not plot, and I wasn't really here for it. So yeah, not super high on my priority list. I don't know why I went so hard on that one. I'm going to try to tone it down. Then we have the Maze Runner trilogy. I just need to read the prequel book. There were 2 prequels. I read the first one this month. I need to read the second one. There is a spin-off trilogy that's set after this trilogy, which I was unaware of. Don't really know if I'm going to read that or not. Honestly, the first prequel book was very disappointing. It was a letdown, and now I really have no urge to read the next prequel book because I just finished Sunrise on the Reaping. And if a prequel book doesn't give me everything that the Hunger Games prequel books do, I just have zero desire to read them because, like, what's the point? Honestly, what's the point? Then we have A Fate of Wrath and Flame. This is an adult fantasy series. I am so excited to finish this. I plan on getting through this series this year. Very high on my list of series that I want to finish. I was obsessed with this first book. I don't even have time to explain the plot for this because, like I said, I was going to try to stop going so far in detail on these books, and this one's really hard to pick out. But the legitimate enemies to lovers, the insane world that she's building, and the intricate plot line, it's incredible, and I loved it. It was a 5-star read, so I can't wait to read the rest of this. Then we have the Beautiful series. I think this is probably pretty low. It's been a while since I read the first 3 books. I think the first 3. And I just don't really, it's set in 1800s New Orleans. Yeah, 1800s New Orleans. It's following vampires and this human that ends up finding out this world exists. Very gothic atmosphere. Reminded me, sort of, not really, kind of the originals. I don't know. It's been a while, so I would need to reread the first 3 before I get to the rest of them. So that is what's keeping me from continuing through with that series. And then we have Happily. Then we have the Prison Halo trilogy. I only need to read the last book in this. This is really high on my list. I definitely want to finish this before the end of the year. I just don't want to know how the 3rd book goes because of the way the 2nd one went out. I just don't. So this is like a YA fantasy world. Again, gonna take too long for me to explain the whole thing, but I think a lot of people have seen that before. Then we have Defy the Night. I've only read the first one. This was really high on my list for a little bit, and then I kind of started not being as interested in finishing it, but like every time I look at it, I go, wow, I really need to finish this. So like, I know that doesn't make sense, but I'd say mid to high range. This is a YA fantasy as well. Kind of gives like Robin Hood vibes where they're stealing supplies from the rich part of the kingdom to help the sick people that are dealing with this virus that's going around in the poorer parts of the kingdom. And I think that it's really going to take off in the 2nd book and get a little bit more political and intense, and I am excited for it. Then we have Caraval. I would say this is high, but this is another seasonal high where I want to read the rest of them in fall just because this first one gave a lot of fall vibes with like the carnival games style of it all, and I just think the rest of them are going to as well, so it is high on my TBR. I just want to read it in the fall time. Then we have Assistant to the Villain. This is like mid to high range. I would really like to get the 2nd one right before the 3rd one comes out at the end of the year, and I did really, really like this book. Like it's a cute, cozy fantasy. All of the characters are just adorable and fun, and it's comedic where he's a villain that kills people, and like the way that the assistant handles that is it just makes you laugh. Like, it's funny. But this one is definitely a little bit more cozy than like the comedic humor in Butcher and Blackbird, but like similar-ish vibes, kind of, in a more cozy sort of way. Then we have Mortal Instruments series. This is high on my list, and it has been for like a year now. I don't know why I can't get myself to finish this series. I truly, truly don't. There's just something in my brain that's like, I don't know. I do want to finish it because I really enjoyed the first 2 books, and I want to get into the rest of the Shadowhunter universe. I have no logical explanation for why I can't bring myself to finish that book or that series. Then we have The Scarlet Alchemist. This is like mid-range. I'm gonna listen to the audiobook, I think, because I don't have the second one. And right now I don't really plan on buying it unless like Fairy Loot comes out with their edition of it so that it matches this. So like like I said, I'm gonna listen to the audiobook. It's like mid to high range. I really did enjoy this because it follows more Chinese, I think Chinese mythology, or at least, yes, it's in southern China. Chinese mythology and the idea of alchemy, and it takes an interesting twist with that. Like I loved a lot of the concepts in this book. They were very new to me. So I am curious to see where the second one goes, but this is also one that I feel like you could almost read as a standalone. Like, yeah, there are some parts at the end that wouldn't wrap up perfectly, but it does kind of work, if I remember right. Then we have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This is her first not YA, all of her other books are YA, her first adult fantasy series. And this is actually very high on my list because I plan on reading the second book through audio in the next couple days, actually. So I just finished a reread of this book, also through audio because like, shabig. And actually really enjoyed it the second time around more just because I had a baseline knowledge of all of the characters and the world and everything. It's just so much information that you definitely need to sometimes read it twice to take it all in. Like it's kind of like a lot of info dumping, but I think it sets up for what could be an incredible second book. So I'm very excited to read the second one. So that is all of the books or series that I am in the middle of. I think there's probably, I feel like I'm missing one because I filmed this the other day and then found out that it was in slow-mo and there was no audio. So I'm refilming it and I'm sitting here going, I think I missed one, but I couldn't begin to tell you. Oh, it's the Mistborn series. Silly me. I have the other book sitting somewhere over there. That is an adult fantasy, like high fantasy book, and I'm definitely very excited to continue getting through that. It's just taking me a little because it's high fantasy and it's a lot to take in, but yes, the Mistborn trilogy. I knew there was another one. So anyway, those are all the series that I can remember that I am in the middle of, that I plan on finishing. There are series that I am currently caught up on that have new books coming out later this year, like Powerless by Lauren Roberts. Books like that, or series like that. I didn't include those in here because technically I am where I need to be on those. So we have 30 series sitting in front of me that we just went over that I need to get moving on. So we might start doing some reading vlogs and me trying to get through a series I'm in the middle of. So hopefully you guys like those. If there are any in here that you really, really want to see me get to sooner than later, please let me know. And that's going to be all that I have for this video. I hope to see you guys in the next one very soon. Bye.